At the dawn of 1914, optimism shone in the West. The airplane, telephone, and radio made the world more connected than ever before, and international war was the last thing on anyone's mind. But within a year, one of the bloodiest conflicts in history erupted in Europe, killing 17 million soldiers and civilians. Historian Professor Margaret Macmillan has noted some unnerving similarities between today's world and the conditions that created the First World War. For example, the United States of America are like old Britain, a declining superpower. The USA's main trading partner, China, is like Imperial Germany, a country on the rise, rife with nationalism and rapidly developing its technology and armed forces. The Middle East is the unstable Balkans, a catalyst for conflict. And Islamic terrorists are the early 20th century communists, relentless in their assassinations and bloody revolutions to obtain a better future. But this time around, America may be the catalyst for war, by interfering too much with other nations in a paranoid attempt to keep a hold on its global supremacy. Since the early 20th century, American diplomacy has thrived on foreign intervention. And nothing has changed in the 21st century. After the War on Terror was announced in 2001, the US has dramatically increased its control in the unstable Middle East and other countries. In particular, America supplies Israel with $3 billion worth of military aid every year to maintain a political stronghold in this decisive region of the world. Surrounding countries like Iraq and Syria are notably anti-American because of previous US interventions. And America's pro-Israel stance makes an already turbulent region all the more temperamental. And lately it's China, a superpower in the making, that's most irked by America's meddling. America is fearful that China's artificial reef construction in the South China Sea will increase Beijing's power. To prevent this from happening, America has employed a military presence in these waters. But in May 2015, China issued a warning to the United States that World War III is inevitable unless the US ceases to interfere with its political activities. Just like Britain and Germany 100 years previously, the US appears to have underestimated the power of its closest trading partner. And it's assumed that war with China is an impossibility, when in fact the opposite couldn't be more true. China has the biggest army in the world, with around 2,285,000 active personnel, and America's complacency could spark a war between the two nations. And it's easy to see how a US-China conflict could easily be the catalyst for a global war. China's strained relationship with the USA's ally, Japan, could cause armed attacks in the east, and China may begin an unforeseen invasion of Taiwan. With America's forces strained in both the Middle East and Asia-Pacific region, North Korea could seize on this opportunity to invade neighboring South Korea. This in turn could trigger a chain reaction of treaties and plunge the whole world into another war. But all this hasn't stopped the US from aggravating one of the world's biggest nuclear threats. In February 2014, President Vladimir Putin invaded the Crimean Peninsula to seize control of Ukraine. Political expert Noam Chomsky has criticized America's reaction to the Ukraine crisis, which was to initiate military training exercises on the border of Russia as a warning to Putin. But all this achieved was to cause Russia to form a closer relationship with China. In March 2015, Putin announced that if the US interfered with his military decisions, then Russia was prepared to take nuclear action. If Putin and Russia are provoked enough, they could invade Europe. By the terms of the NATO agreement, America and its European allies would be drawn into a war with Russia, and quite possibly China too, now that Russia and China are closer neighbours, with the USA as a common enemy. At the very least, experts predict a new Cold War to emerge between these old rivals if the US continues to intervene in Russia's political decisions. But in July 2015, the US made a peaceful move when President Obama struck a deal with Iran to limit its access to nuclear weapons. This is a step in the right direction. But with America's armed forces and Israel both serving as provocative presences in the Middle East, if America isn't careful, an obliterating Third World War could be just on the horizon. Do you know just how many countries the United States has invaded since the end of World War II? To find out, click right here to check out this video from our friends at TestTube News. Thanks for watching.
We're going to use it here to refer to times the U.S. armed forces have intervened abroad for non-peaceful purposes.